And now today, you have another historic legislative achievement that is a monumental step to fulfilling your promise to making the United States the crypto capital of the world. This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally, by creating a digital dollar that people all over the world can use. And for every digital dollar in a crypto wallet, there'll be a traditional dollar in a U.S. bank account, which will create trillions of dollars of demand for U.S. Treasuries. So that is the power of this bill, is U.S. dollar dominance.
Donald Trump just passed the Genius Act, which is the flagship regulation for stablecoins. And this comes after Congress has been passing the bill back and forth quite a bit. Now, a lot of people think about stablecoins as this new innovation for cross-border payments and cheaper remittances, which is true, it is. But what just happened is much deeper than what's going on in the crypto market. When we zoom out a little bit, there's a high chance that this is really about the US financial system, the debt within that system, and how that affects the global economy. Everything has completely changed. We have Trump signing the Genius Act for stablecoins now in law. But we also have the Clarity Act for digital market infrastructure coming through Senate next. And at this point, it's very clear that we're going to have a full regulatory framework for the entire digital asset industry this year. Specifically in the Genius Act, there are a few key things that I want to share. The first is that this officially allows stablecoin issuers to get a license, either state or federal, to have the rights to issue these stablecoins. Now, the second thing is something that I think is going to be probably the most important, which is that these stablecoins must be backed one-to-one fully by either cash or short-term treasuries. Now, this means that stablecoin issuers are now going to have to be buyers of short-term US debt. And as the crypto industry grows and the demand for stablecoins rises, so will the demand for these short-term treasuries. Now, this third thing is very important because it definitely goes against the whole ethos of cryptocurrency. And what it is that now the government is going to be enforcing very strict AML, KYC, and BSA regulations over stablecoins. KYC is Know Your Customer, AML is Anti-Money Laundering, and BSA is the Bank Secrecy Act. And these regulations are basically in place to prevent there from being money laundering in the system and also to prevent terrorism and things like that. So essentially what this allows the government to be able to do with stablecoins is to seize, freeze, and potentially even burn tokens as they deem fit. Now, the thing that I really want to hammer on is that these stablecoins are providing new demand for short-term US treasuries. The thing is that Japan and China have been backing off of their purchases of US treasuries. And with that, there's a chance that the dollar is losing its importance on the global scale. And you have efforts, specific efforts like the BRICS nations and others that are trying to find a way around having to use the United States dollar as the standard for global commerce. So the Genius Act and the stablecoin regulations are not just about the crypto industry and innovating the payment system. Honestly, there's a chance that what this is really about is maintaining dollar dominance on a global scale. And as I mentioned before, this isn't everything. We also have the Clarity Act coming up as well. And that's going to provide a whole framework for the entire digital asset landscape, which could then increase the demand for all digital assets, once again, providing more demand for stablecoins and in turn, more demand for short-term US treasuries. For over a decade, we've had the United States government fail to create a proper regulatory framework for crypto and digital assets, and we've had financial leaders of the biggest institutions in the world talking about how nefarious and dangerous crypto is.
Most importantly, what I think about most of these cryptocurrencies, it just identifies how much money laundering there is being done in the world.
My personal advice is don't get involved. Bitcoin itself is a hyped up fraud. It's a pet rock.
You're back to that?
Yeah,
really?
Of course, yeah.
But meanwhile, the entire time, these same financial institutions have been building the actual technology to bring all of this to the forefront.
I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I'm not trying to say there's not misuses like everything else, but it is a legitimate financial instrument. And so I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios.
4 years after calling Bitcoin worthless, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says that clients can now buy the cryptocurrency, but it doesn't mean he's buying it himself.
We are going to allow you to buy it, and we're not going to custody it. We're going to put it on statements for clients.
The Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, the DTCC, the most important financial institution you've probably never heard of, has been building out blockchain technology rails for years. The DTCC is the backbone of the U.S. financial system. They are responsible for the clearing and settlement of pretty much all stocks and bonds that are traded on public markets. They process 2.5 quadrillion in transactions every year, and this is what keeps the system in motion. Now, just for reference, 2.5 quadrillion is 2,500 trillion. 2,500 trillion is 2.5 million billion, which is 2.5 billion million. This year, the DTCC announced that they have built a tokenized collateral platform built entirely on blockchain rails. This platform allows institutions to move assets around in real time using smart contracts, which reduces the delays and a lot of the costs that have plagued this industry for years. This platform was built with the concept of institutional DeFi in mind, and it has already been tested with major banks in what they have called the Great Collateral Experiment. This is not just some tech pilot program. They've been working on this for years. And that's just the back end, right? That's the actual infrastructure layer. But we've also got all of these financial institutions ready to plug in. We have BlackRock, the largest financial institution in the world with over $10 trillion in assets under management, going ahead and tokenizing funds. We have Fidelity doing the same thing. We even have the CME, which is the largest futures exchange, trading over 1 quadrillion in notional value every year, considering tokenized futures contracts and options. We have a ton of institutions filing ETFs, and the SEC reviewing over 70 applications to have ETFs for products like Solana, XRP, and Doge. The point is that the architecture in the back end has actually already been done. And what's happening now is that financial institutions are finally just plugging in. Now that we have the laws that will actually allow this to be fully functional coming into place within potentially days, we are entering a completely new phase. This isn't crypto versus the traditional financial ecosystem. No, they are merging into one. So while people have been getting rugged, hacked, and never coming back to the space again, we've had these institutions in the back end building this infrastructure and buying up these digital assets. Like and subscribe for more updates. I'll see you next time.